Hello there. This video is going to explain how I made my Trunic font, variable font, using OpenType. But as a warning, this video is going to expose how the language works. It's not going to explain how it works, but it's going to rely on the fact that you already know how it works. So if you've been playing the game and you don't know how it works yet and want to figure it out on yourself, don't watch this video and come back after you have, because that's all I'm going to say. So how does a font file work? Normally, a standard font file has a bunch of glyphs, which are just characters. So like A, B, C, D. And they all have code points associated to them, like an ASCII number. And so when you type A on the keyboard, it knows to draw the A glyph. You type B, it draws the B glyph. There's this thing called ligatures, which I'll get to later, that allow you to type two different characters, and it maps to one single glyph. The most common one, for example, is this fancy letter F with an I, and it like connects the dot. So if you type the letters F, I, instead of the F mapping to an F and the I mapping to an I, both of these map to just one glyph, which is FI. I abused the heck out of that in the font I made, so it's very important to know that that exists. Another very important thing that exists in font files is compound glyphs. So going outside the standard Latin alphabet, you have letters that have no decoration to them. You might have an accent, you might have a grave, you might have whatever. I don't even know if these characters exist, but you have all these different diacritics, alright? So if you were a font maker and you wanted to have a font that supported all these characters, you could have each one of these as a separate glyph. The problem is, if you want to change how one looks, you have to change it in every single one. Or say you want to change the height of the little circle thing, then you would have to change it not only here, but like if you had an E with a circle above it, you'd have to change it there too. That is annoying. So there's this thing called compound glyphs. So you have like your vowels or whatever. You have your diacritics and your decorations and everything here. And then you can make a compound glyph, like say A with accent, which doesn't have any like font data associated with it. All this glyph says is I am a compound glyph that is made up of this one and this one, which is really useful because now if you have a bunch of different letters with different diacritics and you want to change, you just have to change the base one and it automatically reflects in all of these different versions. And I abuse the heck out of that in my font as well, which we'll get to. So turning over to Trunic, so this is the part where if you don't understand how the language works and you don't want it spoiled, last chance. So the character looks something like this. I made this really tall, holy crap. This is like all of the lines that could possibly exist. This can be split into 3 different sections. So you have the outside border, which looks like this. You have the inside spokes, which looks like this. And then you have the circle at the bottom. There's often like a line that goes through the center that isn't important at all. But essentially this encodes vowels. This is the consonants. And then this is like the flip reverse thing. So like this vowel right here represents the O sound. And then this represents the sound. So if you combine them together to get this, which is the most complicated one, then you get or no, it's the other way around. No, I guess. It's when you add the circle that it flips around, and then this would be ong. So if you have the circle, the vowel comes first. If you don't have the circle, the consonant comes first. Most of the time, the consonant comes first. The sound usually only comes at the end. That's why I got confused there. Content aware? No. Get out of here. So you have all these characters, which are like, since they have you have different combinations, basically. You have every single combination that can exist where all of these different lines, which there's 6 for the consonants and 5 for the vowels, and then the circle. So you have 6 times 5 times 2. Or wait, no, not that. 2 to the 6 times 2 to the 5 times 2. I was going to say, there's way more than 60. Because you have an option whether or not each of these segments is there or not. This is a big number. Now, not every character, or not every combination is mapped to a character, so the actual font file has less than this. But you can see that if you created a glyph, one separate glyph for every character, that's a lot of characters to keep track of. So I basically split the vowels and the consonants. So now I have like say some vowel and some consonant, and I make a compound glyph out of those two, which really helps. And I guess the circle too, so it may have the circle, it may not. Which really helps because now I only have to make however many vowels there are and however many consonants there are, which I don't remember the exact number. There's like 28 and 18. I don't remember. That seems too much. The whole point is it's way less than 2 to the 5th times 2 to the 6th times 2, which is great because that means less work creating things. But what if we went a step lower and made these be compound glyphs as well? So my font has only a handful of actual raw glyphs, and that's one for every like segment that exists, like this. The middle line's confusing. We'll get to that. And then I also have one for the line across, and I guess one in the center. And then each consonant is a compound of all these. So the O character is a compound glyph out of these 5 glyphs. And the no consonant is a compound out of these 6. And then, so now I have a list of all the vowels, a list of all the consonants, combine them. And that's nice because what I can do is say if I wanted to make a bold version of the font, I don't have to go and edit every single consonant and every single vowel. All I need to do is make another set of these, just one set, where I only have to make these characters. And all the compound glyphs just come for free. They're exactly the same, so it just automatically generates all the rest. And I actually also have a variation on the font where it's not stretched, because there is a version in the game where it's like an actual hexagon. It looks like this. And the circle is like up here. Again, all I have to do is make that, and then all of these come for free. So that's what I did. Let's look at the font file. This program is called Font Creator. That's what I use to make it, and it supports all of the compound glyphs and everything. So what you see up here, I wish I could zoom in on this, but this program does not have the zoom in option. Never mind, it does. I could have sworn I tried to zoom in one day and it didn't work. Anyway, so what I have highlighted in orange here are the base glyphs, other than the punctuation. Here's the top right, top left, the left bar, bottom left, bottom right. Those are for the vowels. We'll come back to why there's two of some of these later. And then for the consonants, this is the top right, top left, bottom right. And then I have the bar in the middle and a circle. Now we scroll down, and the purple are all of the vowels, which are just compounds of these. So like A is a compound of this, and this. That's it. And AA is a compound of this, and this one. Easy. I can literally edit this, and it will edit every single version. So like if I don't know, did something stupid, like made this really big like that, and you can see that it will update it on every single character that has that glyph in it. And then further down, here's the consonants, which are just the same except they use the consonant glyphs. And then here, starting here, these are the actual characters, which are composites made of one vowel and one consonant. And there's a lot of them. But the good thing about these is these are all automatically done. I really don't have to. Once I created them once, I don't have to mess with them ever again. And I scroll far enough down, then here's the ones with the circles, which are vowel first. Easy peasy. So now I have all of the glyphs, all composite glyphs. So all the characters that exist in the language are in the font file. But now I have to worry about the ligatures, which is what I came up with earlier. How am I going to type all of these different characters? There's hundreds of characters, but there's only 30 keys on my keyboard. And the answer is ligatures. So if I want to type the character BA, which looks like this, all I have to type on my keyboard is BA, and it knows that the BA has a ligature assigned to it, which is this single glyph, compound glyph. And it knows that if I type A and then B, that this is a different glyph that corresponds to the character that has the 0, or the circle at the bottom. And so I have to create a giant list of ligatures for every single combination we can get to. And actually, before I talk about that, I should talk about how you even type it in the first place, because there's lots of different vowels and stuff. So actually, this is where this comes in. So up here are all the vowels that exist and all the consonants that exist. So some of these vowels are weird looking because in English we don't have different symbols for the same vowel. So this is the ah sound, but this is the ah sound. In Trunic they're different, but in English we use the word A, or the letter A, and you just know what it is. So E, I, O, U, We'll get to the X's. Then the diphthongs I, A, ow, and oi. And then consonants, we have, these are pretty self-explanatory. These are all basic English. We do have the j character, like in fission. It's different than the sh sound. And then there's also the th and the, which I had, again in English, the th as in the word thick, and the as in the word the. We use th for both of those, but in Trunic they're different. So for this font I decided you have to type tz to get that one. And then of course n is its own consonant as well. Fun fact, so if you know Japanese a little bit, you'll know that there's like characters that have the little dot at the top, or the circle, for like voicing a consonant. In Trunic that exists, but it, like, instead of doing the little dot to show that you voice it, you flip the character upside down. So a V is just a voiced F, so it's f versus v. And these characters are the same except V is upside down F. So that's pretty neat. That's why I have them grouped up in a weird order here. Anyway, oh yeah, so we have the consonant R, just here, R sound, but in Trunic, R is also a vowel, so, which, you can go look that up. I'm not going to explain about how R is a hidden sixth vowel in English, but the sound is a lot more vowel-ish than consonant-ish, so that's why it exists here. But when it comes to being able to type all the characters, so each one of these is a different character. This is how you have to type it, which is just the consonant and then the vowel after. The important thing with the R and why it's an X is because in order for these to type correctly and for all of them to be unique, all of these characters have to be different from all of these characters. And since there's an R consonant, I can't use R for the vowel, so the vowel version of R is X. So this is R, air, ear, or, which makes it funny because this looks like it says fox, but it actually is for. And then, of course, we have, so I would put this in my ligature list, so I'd know that my font file would know that if I type DAX on the keyboard, it knows to just map that to the single compound glyph that corresponds to DAR. And of course, I have to have an entire separate list for the other way around. So these are vowel first and then consonant. So how did I do that in Font Creator? That is a good question, because you have to go up here to the Open Type Designer. Ligatures are an open type thing. And basically, this is just where it tells me that, okay, if I type the A character, then A character, then N character, then G character, it will convert it to the ang character, which is this. And this list is absolutely massive. But basically, I just had to take everything that was in that spreadsheet and edit it into a separate format so that I can see it in this little scripty thing. It just tells the font how to substitute certain glyphs for other glyphs. Another interesting thing is that I didn't mention is that SH, ZH, TH, TZ, and NG all require you to type those two characters. CH is interesting because my font also works if you just type C. If you type the letter C, it will automatically write CH. But if you type CH, it will also convert it to CH instead of C and then an H, which is kind of a hiccup in my my creation process, because that's the only instance where that happens. Yeah, so all I had to do is create these, and then all these came for free, and then create the giant ligature list, and it works. But remember earlier, I was like, if I need to make a bold version, all I need to do is edit the original ones. So that's where this program is really helpful, in that I can create an instance of a font. So I'll be like the regular version, and I'll have the bold version, which is just like all I had to edit to make the bold version was everything here. So the base glyphs, and then the very small amount of punctuation that I support in the font. But it's also cool because I made so there's the regular version. I made the handwritten version, which is just doesn't have the horizontal line. And then there's the condensed version, which is just the hexagon. And what's cool is, since this is a variable font, you can actually interpolate between the two. So you have regular and bold. If you want half bold, you can move the slider halfway, so it makes it half bold. Normal, bold, half bold, or anything in between. Pretty neat. Same with the handwritten. Even though the handwritten thing is it's a one is either on or off. You can still kind of interpolate between the two if you want, so it's kind of interesting to see how the middle bar like shrinks down to nothing. And then the height. I have a height slider, so you go from full to condensed. Pretty neat. I guess the last thing to touch on is why there's 2 copies of some of these, and it has to do with the stupid circle and the workaround I had to do to get it to work. So if I go to a character that has the circle in it, let's pick one, this one. I zoom in down here. So on the normal version of the font, the circle sits below the character. And there's no issue at all. When I make it bold, the circle kind of grows. Okay, fine. The problem was that when I do the condensed version, the circle goes up. I can see actually there's a problem here. It is still poking out. The circle gets crunched inside. And the problem I was having is that the original, these glyphs, the base glyphs were poking into the circle. And there's no way to like mask it out. The way that font files work. So for every character that has a circle that also has one of these glyphs on the bottom, I had to make a separate version of the glyph that has like this point cut off of it. And that is so that it doesn't poke into the circle. So you can see that like these ones kind of go way back. I changed the bold ones to go all the way back like this so that it doesn't poke into the circle. I go down like that. Like, see how the circle, it like, these characters like make room for the hole so that it doesn't overlap the circle. Like that. Which is pretty neat. I don't know why I didn't do that for the non-bold version. So like if you do this, it does poke through. I never noticed that. I'll have to fix it. But it does kind of like make room for the circle. So that's pretty neat. This font has, It has 6 different instances. So you have the regular, condensed version, handwritten version, bold, condensed version, and the bold handwritten version. And then there's also the variable font, which also the last thing I want to talk about is how the variable font works and how I'm sad because it doesn't work. So this website, Access Praxis, is really good for messing with testing variable fonts because it lets you play with it instead of it, like play with the actual font file and not the project file before you actually export it. So what I can do is I can upload my font file here and actually see what it's going to look like. And you can already kind of tell that it's kind of messy. The lines don't line up exactly. When I do the handwritten version, there's like this little gap. I don't really understand why that's happening. It's like it only happens like at the very end. I don't understand. The height is completely messed up. Like it doesn't move the characters. If anybody knows anything about variable fonts and why this is doing this, I would love to know. Like the circle isn't moving up and it's getting cut off. I didn't even know fonts could like get cut off like that. That's weird. So yeah, I'm not too sure about it. But once I figure out how to fix that, that'd be really cool because I'll be able to, it'll be completely customizable. Weight, height, whether you want the line or not. Another interesting thing is if you do have the horizontal line going through, then the height doesn't do anything because you can't have, it would look really weird to have the crunched down version with the line going through it. There's like no room for it. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you found font creation pretty interesting. I will have a download link to the font files in the description after I fix the issue I just found with this poking through the circle. And I will have variable font in the description as well once I figure out why the heck it's broken. Maybe I'll upload the broken version anyway, so if somebody wants to download it and try to figure out why it's broken, that'd be great. Maybe it's just that Font Creator supports variable fonts, but it doesn't know how to export them. I don't know. But that's about it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.